Good morning, Husker fans, and welcome back to the Husker Big Red YouTube channel. I'm Chris Peterson, and joining me as always is Danny Gillette. We're back here on this Monday morning for another episode, and we are going to look back at Saturday's big win over Akron, 68-0. We're going to offer up some Monday morning takeaways, some final thoughts on that win. We're going to offer up some grades, look at some of the breakout players from Saturday, and also offer up our game MVP. So don't miss any of this. And before we get into it, please make sure that you guys hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn those notifications on, and then get into the comment section. Let us know your Monday morning takeaways about the win from Akron or your game MVP. And Danny, how are you on this fine Monday morning?
I'm doing okay. My Patriots lost, but Nebraska won, and Josh Allen single-handedly won me my fantasy league for week 1. So mixed bag, but I'm doing okay.
Yeah, that was quite a game last night. A bit of a disappointer for the Patriots, yesterday, kind of a clunker, but, it's just week 1, so a lot of season left to go. And, I mean, that's also true about Nebraska, even though we're sitting here, at 2-0 now, a lot of season, but definitely things seem to be moving, trending in the right direction for the Huskers as we move through non-conference play. So, I mean, 68-0 win. I was happy to see my Packers get a win on Sunday, but, yeah, that Josh Allen game was pretty fun to watch.
That was insane, yeah. Both quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson too. I mean, those are the two best quarterbacks in the league right now, and they showed it, and it was a treat for the fans.
Yeah, it was a great first week of football. So
Yeah.
we'll see. We got Bears Vikings tonight. So, but looking back at this game, the final takeaways, I guess, from Akron, a couple of days removed from it. Nebraska still not ranked in the top 25. They're moving in the right direction, getting some more votes from the coaches and AP poll. I mean, I didn't really expect them to be ranked, but I definitely think they're moving up and trending up in a lot of people's minds. After that win, there was a lot of question, like, could Nebraska cover the spread against Nebraska or against Akron? Would the offense be explosive enough? And they certainly answered that question. I mean, doubling it up, and they easily could have scored over 70 points had they not had some, red zone issues in the first half. So a lot of encouraging things from this team. But, again, my takeaway was that for one night at least, it felt like, the Tom Osborne era Huskers when, used to just beat the crud out of people. And it felt really good to, experience that again for just one night. We'll see how that looks against Houston Christian and Michigan and, all these difficult Big Ten games. But for one night, it was awesome to see Nebraska just look like what I feel Nebraska should look like.
One of my takeaways was that Emmett Johnson could be a 1,000-yard rusher quite easily if he keeps this up. I mean, he was dynamic yet again. I know he had the fumble in the red zone, but still, I mean, he put together 110-plus yards of rushing, and he looks like he is one of the best running backs in the Big Ten. And that's certainly not a small statement to say when you consider the caliber of players in the Big Ten at the running back position, but Emmett Johnson is in the zone right now.
Yeah, I think he will easily get that 1,000 yards. I predict him for 1,500 total yards this season at the start of the year. And he's not got quite as many receiving yards. I mean, he only had like 2 for 7 last week. Did have a touchdown against Akron, but overall, I feel pretty good about that prediction so far. I mean, I can't remember exactly how many yards he's averaging rushing, but well over 100. I think it's over 130 yards total because he got 140 against Akron. He had like 135 against Cincinnati. So really having a tremendous season. I think he could lead the Big Ten in rushing. We'll see if he can. We'll see if he can sustain it, and with the wear and tear and all that. But so far, man, I mean, I was thinking about with Dylan Raiola, like 5 stars. He was a 5-star that played like a 5-star, and Emmett Johnson's a former 3-star recruit who's playing like a 4 or a 5-star for Nebraska right now.
And I think that speaks to the run blocking of Nebraska too. They were a little shaky early on Saturday, but they rightened the ship quickly, and they created some big holes and big lanes for Johnson to run through. So I think shout out to the offensive line for being able to adjust and help put together a strong performance on the ground.
And one thing I like that Dana Holgerson's done that I've seen him do a couple weeks in a row now is bringing on like an extra lineman as a tight end in certain situations. They did that with Turner Corcoran quite a bit on Saturday. They did that last week against Cincinnati as well. I think that's a good. I like that mindset. I like that formation. That's probably not something that Holgerson did a lot, in his time with Houston. I really don't know. I can't say specifically, but that's not something you really see, an air raid offense typically do is bring in like extra offensive linemen. So I just think the way that this system has melded into like, an air raid / NFL pro style, up tempo type of a system. I think it's a really good thing for Nebraska, and I really like where the offense is going under Dana Holgorsen in his first full season as the offensive coordinator.
I do too, because you see that he's still committed to running the football when needed. We saw that against Cincinnati. So, he has no problem kind of blending styles, and it still feels like a Big Ten offense. But if they need to have that air raid type of offense as well, they can have that, and they have the playmakers to do that. I mean, you saw Ja'Cory Barney over 130 yards receiving on Saturday, and it brought me back to the Wisconsin game last year where he really broke out and showed what he could do, and that he was more than just an end-around player. So, now we're seeing Holgorsen utilize a guy like Ja'Cory Barney out wide, and it's paying big dividends for the program.
Yeah, big game for Ja'Cory Barney. 7 catches, 130 yards, whatever it was, and 4 punt returns for 89 yards. He had a 39-yarder, which was the longest punt return Nebraska's had since 2019. They had more punt return yards, I believe, in this game than they had all of last season. That's a stat that I saw from one of the Nebraska reporters. I didn't double check it myself, but that checks out to me because they did not have any sort of punt return game, for years. And if Ja'Cory doesn't trip, he might score a touchdown. He had a couple of returns there that broke really nicely. But they did have, I would say, an impact play. Riley Van Poppel blocked the punt or blocked the field goal. So you talk about a 39-yard punt return, a blocked field goal on special teams. So I thought those guys made a big impact. But my biggest takeaway from this game is just the level of play from Dylan Raiola. I think, he's not getting talked about enough, even from a Nebraska fan perspective, from a national media perspective. I mean, this guy's averaging 307 passing yards per game. He's completing 78% of his passes. He's got 6 touchdowns. There's been one pass that was a defender looked like they were going to intercept. That's it. In 2 weeks, he's had one bad decision, one bad pass. That's all that I can truly remember. Now, maybe I'm, misremembering a play here or there, but he's been he's been really flawless. I mean, I know everybody's caught up on the Dane Key play, and that was a great throw. That was an incredible throw. But go back and look at the Quinn Clark throw. That right there is an NFL throw, because if that misses by inches, centimeters to the inside, it's still a completion, but it's like a 12, 13-yard completion. The fact that he hit him right in stride, that's why that was a 37-yard touchdown. And to me, that throw right there is like what Dylan Raiola can be. And he was making those throws all night. He made them, not as many last week, but he didn't have to, because, Cincinnati played a different style of defense. So this kid is on another level. And that's why I think this team has a chance to be really good this season.
And he meshes well with Dana Holgorsen. You saw last year at times, he wouldn't say it publicly, but Marcus Satterfield's play calling and what Raiola could do didn't match up well, but I think Holgorsen and Raiola are a perfect fit.
And then let's give some credit to, John Butler on the defensive side of the ball. 1 of 14 on third downs. The defense got 11 pressures. They got a couple of sacks. Sure, I'd like to see some more sacks, but 11 pressures. They got some quarterback hits. They did allow a few runs to Akron. They had that kind of QB run, that Wildcat stuff. Nothing really, too concerning. I thought that, Cade Petrizak was spectacular in this game. I love that they got him out there. He had 3, they call them stops. They rate them as stops for PFF. And if you don't know what a PFF or what a stop is via PFF, it's a tackle or a play that's a win for the defense. So it's not like, oh, Cade Petrizak made a tackle 5 yards downfield. It's like, no, he made a tackle at the line of scrimmage or for like a 1-yard gain or a 1-yard loss. He had 3 of those. I think he played 28 snaps, and he ended up playing the second most snaps behind Williams Nwaneri. And man, you talk about Nwaneri and Cade Petrizak. That's an exciting tandem for the future, because Williams Nwaneri is a redshirt freshman. So really bright future for Nebraska on the edges of the defensive line.
And you can see why he was so highly, he was so highly coveted during the recruiting process last summer, because he can definitely bring that energy and that element to it. I mean, we were worried kind of about the defensive line and how small it is, but a guy like Petrizak can provide that beef in the middle.
And I mean, truly, like when I look at him, like this might sound a little bit crazy, but I think he could be like a Nebraska's Mason Graham. I know he doesn't play the same position, but I'm just talking about like a player who, was under recruited, who clearly looks like, this guy was, 250 or whatever. He wasn't lowly recruited. He was a 4-star, but he should have been a top 100 recruit. I mean, look at the way he played against Akron. I mean, I know it's Akron, but freshmen are not supposed to come in and dominate like that at the FBS level. So I think Nebraska got a major steal in Cade Patrizak, and I think this is a guy, like, if I look at anybody in this 2025 class that could be a first-round pick, it's this dude. And I think Nebraska, I think they got a major steal in Cade Patrizak.
And you bring up a good point, Chris. Yes, we know it's Akron. All right, we know it's Akron. We know that it's Akron. Let's see what they do against a real team. Well, Cincinnati, I believe, was a real team. And yes, we know it's Akron, but there are still a lot of positive signs. Sorry, I had to get that out of the way because I've seen that all day yesterday. Oh, it's Akron, but I don't know. I think a lot of what we saw on Saturday can translate to more than just Akron.
Yeah, I mean, it was just Akron, but there's a certain, level of play. I mean, you can just sense the level of play. It wasn't like, previous Nebraska teams maybe could have slogged their way through and won, 27-0 or 27-3. Yeah, or lost, or been, a fourth quarter game. But I mean, this was just totally a thorough domination for 4 quarters. They stepped on the throat as soon as possible, and that's what I want to see from this team. I loved the mindset from Matt Rule in this game, and like, just we're going to attack, and just that I felt the urgency from the guys that were playing defense in the fourth quarter. Like, even though it was 68-0, it felt 0-0. Like, there was no way that those guys wanted to give up a point, and they played like it. I mean, Justin Rhett, I think, is the guy that I was, blanking on the other day, but he had there was a little short curl, and man, he just came up and absolutely leveled the dude short of the first down. And it was 68 to nothing.
Remember that play I was talking about on Saturday night, and that was the play. Was that the fourth down play?
Yeah. I think we were both talking about the same, but yeah, I mean, or maybe it wasn't, but anyway, the way that guys were flying up and making tackles up 68-0, like, that had me fired up. Like, that was, to me, that was one of the most exciting things about this, because like, it's like, man, that's a program right there. Like, these dudes are hungry to get out there on the field. They want their opportunity, and they're not going to let it pass up, because they know, like, it's a fleeting thing, and you got to take advantage of your opportunities with this team, because it's competitive. I mean, look at Cade Patrizak, and he's going to get more playing time. That's going to cost somebody else snaps, whether that's Cameron Leonard or whoever. Gabe Moore, he came out there and had a former edge. He had 2 or 3 pressures, so he's maybe a guy that we need to start talking about a little bit more on this defensive front. So I like that they made some adjustments. I know almost everybody on the roster played, but they definitely played more different defensive line combinations like early in the game before it got crazy out of hand, and it made a big impact. Led directly to that safety with Cade Patrizak.
That's what these games are for. I hate to kind of downplay Akron a little bit, but that's what these games are for. And we talked about the defensive side of the football, and so many people got in, and we saw so many different players. The offensive side of the football, same thing. And I was just thinking about it the other day, and I would be very surprised if we're able to keep TJ Lateef.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we'll see.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish your thought.
That speaks to the quarterback depth that we've been able to accumulate, where we can lose quarterbacks because they're good and lose quarterbacks because other programs want them, and not have to freak out if we have to bring in the second string type of players. When was the last time we were able to do that comfortably?
Yeah, no, I mean, definitely, I think there should be some concern, but I don't think it's foregone that we're going to lose TJ Lateef. I definitely would not shock me if they did. I think he probably could play somewhere next year, but I think Nebraska can make a pretty strong case to keep him, especially with the development of Raiola. If he's developing into a first round caliber quarterback, say he's all Big Ten this season, first, second team, whatever, and then he keeps progressing. I mean, if I'm Nebraska, I'm saying, hey man, like, you see what we're doing with DR right now. He's becoming a first round pick. You see this offense, the success you've already had in it. All you have to do is sit one more year, and you're still gonna have 2 years to play. And then I would make sure that he's got the rev share money and all that type of stuff. Like, that's what they talk about, investing in the quarterback position. Like, you're gonna have to pay your backup quarterback a decent amount of money. Like, and then then you have a better chance of keeping him, because if I'm TJ Lateef, it's like, I could go somewhere else and play, but do I want to go to, say Iowa, or like Iowa? I'm not saying that he would go to Iowa, but you know what I mean? Like, do you want to go somewhere that maybe is not going to help you get to the NFL? Like, is that a better financial decision for you? Because I'm guessing Nebraska is probably going to be able to pay you a similar amount of NIL money. Now, maybe if they throw like Duke money that they paid that Tulane kid. It's $7 million a year or something. But I really don't think anybody's paying TJ Lateef that. So like, I don't think Nebraska. I feel like the NIL side of things, as long as Nebraska's ponying up, that'll be competitive. And I feel like they have a better situation to sell him than probably most teams, because like who's looking for transfer portal quarterbacks, right? It's not Georgia, Alabama, Michigan, Ohio. It's not the good teams, right? It's like the teams that, you know, maybe like a North Carolina or somebody. I mean, there could be somebody out there that's willing to overpay for him, but I don't think it's going to be as easy to get him away from Nebraska as some Nebraska fans might think.
Oh, well, I was just talking about pure talent alone. I mean, I think he's the real deal. He's a tremendous overall athlete, not just a quarterback, but a good athlete. And he throws such a different ball than Dylan Raiola. It's more, in my opinion, a little bit more direct. Not that Raiola throws a bad ball. I mean, shit, we saw Saturday. I mean, Raiola was on top of his game. But Lateef, you know, he has the ability to get the ball out quick. And even on the screen passes, I mean, he was comfortable in the pocket. It seemed like he was comfortable leading the second team, and he just looked ready for the moment. So I'm very curious to see if we see him more this season.
I think we'll see him Saturday, and then outside of that, I think we'll see him very, very sparsely, because I do believe they're going to try to keep him under those 4 games if they can. So, I mean, I honestly, yeah, maybe he gets garbage time, you know, a couple. But honestly, like after this Houston Christian game, like I would not put him in. You know, like if we're beating Northwestern 35-0, like I would be hesitant to put him in the game, because like what if you need him somewhere else down the line? I don't know. It's a delicate situation, but at the end of the day, they may need to think about it like, who cares about the red shirt, because this guy's only playing college for 4 years anyway. Like
that's where I'm at, honestly.
So I mean, you know, like the redshirt probably not going to matter that much outside of, I mean, because he could redshirt next year too. Like he could redshirt this year or next year. It really doesn't matter. He can be the quarterback too next year and only play 4 games. So, you know, as long as they, it'd be nice to preserve that year so he could start for 2 more seasons. But, you know, we'll see what happens. I hope that Nebraska, you know, puts forth the resources though to keep TJ Lateef, because as much as high as we are in Trey Taylor, like you don't want him coming in and starting as a freshman. I mean, that's just not ideal. He could probably do it, but if you've got TJ Lateef that can allow him to come in and learn, like that's the ideal development path, I think, for Nebraska football.
I mean, honestly, if Trey Taylor comes in starting as a freshman and wins the quarterback job, I'd want him starting. I mean, if you're able to beat out, for example, TJ Lateef in that room, that means you're good enough to start, because you got an Elite 11 quarterback in Lateef, you got a talented quarterback in Trey Taylor, and you got a talented quarterback in Dayton Raiola. So honestly, if he's able to win the starting job his freshman year, I would start.
Yeah, I think the only way he does is if
injury scenario, or like, oh no, we have no more quarterbacks, we got to start Trey type of thing.
Yeah, I only see him if TJ Lateef. I think there's 0 chance he's the starter in 2027. I think 0. I don't think there's any chance that he could beat out TJ Lateef as a true freshman. 0. Because and that's not against Trey Taylor. I just think TJ Lateef's really good. And it's like, yeah. I mean, even like the reason you know, Dylan Raiola had to start, we had nobody else. Nebraska literally had nobody else. And that's the same thing with Michigan and Bryce Underwood. They have nobody. They have to play Bryce Underwood. It's not because they want to. It's because they have to. It's a necessity. There is no other option. So, and that's the same with Nebraska last year. Who was our other? I don't even remember who the backup was last year. Harburg. You know, if he would have started, this team wouldn't have made a bowl game last year. If he was the starter, they would not have made a bowl game last year. So, I mean, it's like, that's why Dylan. So, I mean, even though Dylan had some growing pains last year, like it's just what he had to do. But ideally, you know, you'd have the depth and like a veteran to take that spot. And I mean, maybe Trey is even better than I think. He is a special player, but I think TJ Lateef is pretty special too. So I'd have a hard time seeing Trey Taylor beat him out, but maybe. But if TJ Lateef does leave, then I could see Trey, you know, being the quarterback just because out of necessity, because I just don't see it with Dayton Raiola, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going to happen with Dayton Raiola, not to get too far from our Akron takeaways, but I'm very interested to see how that plays out. I think he's a good quarterback, but I'm not sure he's as good or better than Lateef or Taylor. So we'll see.
I think he does have a I think he's kind of I would say he has a lower floor, but a higher ceiling, if that makes sense. I think
Yeah.
if everything develops, he could become not quite his brother, but he could be, a starting caliber quarterback, or he could be, just a kind of a career backup. But I think there's a lot of potential there. We just have to see what what that kind of turns into. But I guess from our final takeaways from a recruiting perspective, this was a really positive weekend. Nebraska has been projected now, I think from another expert, Greg Smith, to land Matt Erickson. So just commit already, Matt. Everybody knows what the
Yeah.
decision's going to be. So
I was excited, but I mean, it wasn't really a surprise. I think he's a really strong player, 6'7", 3-star prospect from the state. So that would make some of the fans happy. But no, I think Matt Erickson's a very good player. And like you said, we're all just kind of waiting for his commitment.
Future Nebraska starting right tackle right there. So Matt Erickson, whenever you make the commitment, man, it's going to be good to have you as part of the program. So let's
Up
move
on our
on.
show. Yeah.
Yeah, let's move on to our report card, our grades for this week. So let's just go through offense, defense, special teams. We'll offer up a letter grade for each. We'll start with the offense. What's your grade coming back for the offense? 68 points, 700, I believe, 24 total yards. So pretty solid day, I would say.
A minus. Like those early red zone trips were annoying, but in the grand scheme of things, you can't complain about 724 yards and 68 points. I mean, let's be honest here. I know some fans will, but I'm not going to. A minus, and the minus is only for those stalled drives. But overall, I'm happy.
Even with the stall drives, I'm going to overlook those A+ for Nebraska. Not a single punt. Archie Wilson was maybe the only Nebraska player who didn't play in the game, except, I don't know, maybe he's a holder or something. I don't think so, though. I love Archie Wilson, but I don't mind seeing him on the sidelines all game. The red zone turnover could have been better, but, they scored 68 points. So A+ for me. I don't think that a couple of things could have been. It wasn't perfect, but it was as close to perfect as you could possibly be. So great day for the offense. What about the defense? 0 points allowed, 1 of 14 on third downs, forced 1 turnover, 2 sacks. What's your grade for the Black Shirts?
A+. I would like to see some more sacks, but at the same time, if it just becomes a pressure and secondary type of defense rather than a pass rushing type of defense, I'm okay with that too, because that secondary is legit. Andrew Marshall is worth every penny, and I'll stand by that till he leaves Nebraska. But I mean, A+ for the defense. I have no complaints at all.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go A+ too. It's usually more of a difficult grader, but I mean, 1 of 14 on third down. Ben Finley, an experienced quarterback, over almost 800 pass attempts coming into this game, averaged 2.5 yards per attempt. 2.5 yards per attempt. That's incredible. So this secondary, really locked it down. Only 2 sacks, but they got 11 pressures. The run defense still a little bit leaky, but I don't think anything to be majorly concerned about. That's kind of the one caveat is still a little bit worried about that run defense. But overall, I thought these guys played with their hair on fire from start to finish. And the way that the second teamers came in and preserved that shutout just strengthened that grade for me even more. So A+ for me from the defense.
And honestly, I think those running backs were a little bit talented too. That was something we talked about coming into the week. So, I mean, shout out to the running backs as well. They were able to get some yards.
All right, special teams, which has been hasn't gotten great grades over the years. What's your grade for Mike Eckler's unit on Saturday?
Hey, I mean, they did everything they needed to do. No punts. Field goals were good. Kyle Kinnunen is a very good kicker. And, I have no complaints there either.
I'll say an A. I'll reserve the plus because, didn't get the touchdown. But yeah, I mean, they did everything across the board. Like you said, didn't miss any kicks. Through 2 weeks, we've got no missed kicks, no bad snaps. So amazing what happens when you get, some competent people in here. The coverage, the coverage unit was spectacular again. 4 punt returns for 89 yards for Barney. A stellar effort on that end, the block by Riley Van Poppel. So yeah, A's across the board. I thought the coaching staff, if we're going to give them a grade, I think they deserve an A too. I mean, they had these guys ready to go. Yeah. They had a great plan to get everybody involved. And like from Matt Rule's perspective, like I don't know what else you could have possibly wanted to get out of this game. Everybody's mostly healthy. You got everybody onto the field, and they all executed at a really high level. So, A+ all around, I think, for Nebraska.
Yeah, and you brought up a really good point. They integrated the second string players and the backups really well in this game. And everybody was able to get some time, and we were able to see what some of these guys could do. So shout out to the coaching staff for kind of orchestrating that well, and A+ for me too.
All right. So who is your game MVP? This is kind of difficult. There's a few candidates. I think Dylan Raiola is a good candidate. You've got Ja'Cory Barney, Emmett Johnson. There could be, a couple. I would say the defense, it's a little harder because they all played so well. It would be hard for me to, Cade Patrizak was really good, but so was, Deshaun McCullough and, some other guys like that. So who's your game MVP?
Can I defer to you while I think about this for a little bit? Because this is tough for me.
I'm going to go. Last week I went Raiola, and this week I'm going to go Emmett Johnson. Just his 47-yarder set the tone. The offensive line was really good too. I don't want to overlook them, but 14 carries for 140 yards. I said I didn't want him to get more than 15 carries, and he took those 14 carries, and he did about as much as possible with them. So Raiola was special. I feel like he could get the game ball every week. Johnson probably too, but so I'm going to mix it up. I went Dylan last week. I'll go with Emmett Johnson this week. But that 47-yard touchdown, man, that was the perfect way to set the tone for this game.
Yeah, it really was. And man, you forget how good he is once he gets to the second level of defense. And you know what? For me, I'm going to say Gunnar Gatula, because there was a lot of questions if he could kind of, take over that role on the offensive line. And he had experience. He played really good against Cincinnati, I thought. And now this was another chance for him to, not prove his worth because he's proved it, but continue his stellar play. And he did that, particularly in the running game. I thought he was able to run block really well. And, it was very evident as you noted with Johnson and his ability to run through the holes. So there were so many MVPs and there were so many good players, but as far as, impact on the game and helping a unit that has not been great the past couple seasons, Gunnar Gatula, I thought he stepped in and played really well.
He did play really well. And speaking of that touchdown run, it doesn't happen without Gunnar Gatula's block. Yep. He had a great combo block, and then he got off the second level and made a perfect seal block on the linebacker. That's literally textbook. That's the way you teach it. So, yeah, he was spectacular. You look at the snap breakdowns, like he is the left tackle now. Elijah Pritchett did play Saturday, but it was only like 13 snaps. So, that was all garbage time. Turner Corcoran did play about the same, but he, like I said, was getting snaps as the extra tackle. So I think the offensive line at this point is set, and it's not the one that maybe we thought we would get at the start of the season, but it's doing its job. So I think you ride them until they don't. So I like how that ended up.
And it's easy to give the game MVP to, the sexy, big time stat making players, but I thought Gunnar played really well, and obviously, and this wasn't an easy game MVP, but I think Gunnar definitely deserved it. And I think it's a case of Matt Rule being able to develop another offensive lineman in a big way.
I think it goes back to, it's something that Jim Harbaugh said before, the draft, or when they drafted that guy from Notre Dame. It's, no other position, offensive line, every other position on offense depends on them to be successful, right? Like, but no offensive line doesn't depend on the quarterback or, anything. Like they have to go take care of their job, but a quarterback can't do a good job without the offensive line, or Emmett Johnson can't do it. So, I think you saw Nebraska dominating the trenches on both sides of the ball. And that's something hopefully we'll continue to see, moving into Big Ten play. I wanted to close the show with this question, actually, and we didn't discuss this up there, but it came up to me, and with kind of what you were saying about with the fan criticism of this win, not really criticism, but just kind of like oh, it's just Akron, or oh, Cincinnati wasn't very good. So we're through two games. Nebraska had a 3-point win. They had a 68-point win. How good do you think Nebraska football is at this point? Have your looking ahead to this season, like, have your expectations changed? Do you think that they've met your preseason expectations? Just how good is this team after 2 weeks?
My preseason expectations, I believe, are 9-3. I think that they can get to 10-2 if they play their cards right. Cincinnati is a lot better than people are giving them credit for. And yes, I know it's Akron, but that was a type of offense that we wanted to see, and that we know that Dana Holgorsen can kind of, lead, if you will. And I think Nebraska is really good. Obviously Michigan will be a test coming up in a couple weeks, but I think this team is good. And you could see it in the play of Raiola. You could see it in the play of Johnson, and then you could see it in the play of Ja'Cory Barney. So I don't think it's just because we're playing Akron and, stuff like that. I think this team is really good.
I think this team is really good too, and I feel pretty good about my 10-2 prediction right now. A lot of people ridiculed me, and I mean I understood. I've been I'm kind of more of a glass half full type of person, so I've been wrong on those predictions before, but man, I don't see a team coming into Lincoln Memorial Stadium and beating Nebraska this year. I just don't. I know that Michigan is Michigan, but they're not going to have their head coach, and I think Nebraska is going to win that game. We're going to end the losing streak against ranked teams. I think we're going to win an absolute shootout against USC. I think that might be like 45-38. That might be one of the most exciting games in the history of Lincoln Memorial Stadium, at least recent history, but I just don't see this team losing at home this year. So, if they can find a way to win those road games, I think there's a very good chance that we're at least in the playoff conversation come November.
The only one I'm really, really worried about is Penn State. Other than that, I think we have a shot.
Yeah, and that's the thing is we didn't even need to win that game. Like we just need to not get blown out in that game. You know what I mean? Just like be competitive and not look the part. And I think Nebraska will. I think yeah, Penn State's a good team, but they look beatable so far. I mean, honestly, through 2 weeks, I think Oregon might be the best team in the Big Ten. They look scary. I mean, because Dante Moore, like he's been a really good quarterback, and last year he sat all year and watched and learned behind Bo Nix, and now, man, like I mean, they beat Oklahoma State like they were a Division III program. I mean, it was 69-3 or something. I mean, like they beat Oklahoma State like we beat Akron. I mean, it was crazy. And I know Oklahoma State's not the greatest team in the world, but to hold them to 3 points and just to run up, points like that, like, I don't know, man. If I had to make a pick right now, I'd say Oregon can win the Big Ten this year.
I'm also glad we don't have to play Illinois this year because they're scary as well.
Yeah, so I'm glad we get to miss Oregon and Illinois. Yeah, they were very impressive against Duke, and I was wrong on my Iowa pick. I thought the Hawkeyes would ugly one out against Iowa State, and they didn't, but that's okay. I love to watch them lose, but I do find it very hilarious that TJ Lateef basically has the same amount of passing yards as the great Mark Gronowski through 2 weeks. So
Mark Gronowski is not a very good Division I, or Big Ten quarterback. I don't care what Iowa fans have to say. I remember when people were saying, "Oh, he's going to be better than Dylan Raiola," and no,
he completed one wobbly pass, and they're like, "This is the greatest throw in the history of college football." It's like, no, you guys. So, I mean, they may beat us this year. We'll see. I mean, we don't have much to talk about yet, but I feel like the rivalry is going to switch in our direction.
So I don't know if they're going to beat us this year because we've been so close with so many other worse Nebraska teams that I don't know.
I mean, we should beat them, but I feel like we should beat them every year. So, we'll see what happens. But I mean, I understand the point of like some Nebraska fans being like, well, maybe we shouldn't talk about Iowa until we start beating them. But I mean, it's hard not to make fun of Iowa and their
when
offense.
Your quarterback throws for 10 yards per game, we can make fun of Iowa.
I mean, their offense literally is the laughing stock of college football. I mean, they win a lot of games, but tell me any college football analyst, if they cover an Iowa game, they make a joke at the expense of the offense because your offense is a joke. I mean, it is. That's why nobody really takes your program seriously. I mean, Iowa's like, oh, we're going to win 8 or 9 games with the ugliest brand of football ever. You're never going to win. You're probably never going to make the playoff. You're probably never going to sniff a national championship. Like, I'm just glad I'm not an Iowa fan. I'll say that.
Yeah, no, I'm very glad I'm not an Iowa fan. And yes, they have a good defense, and yes, they have good corners, and even good running backs. I mean, that Caleb Johnson run still haunts me from last year. But I'm not afraid of Iowa this year. Last year I was because of Johnson and the running back play. But this year I'm very confident heading into the Iowa game.
I'm confident heading into Iowa and Houston Christian and frankly Michigan. So let's get this last. I'm excited to get this last non-conference game out of the way, and let's bring on the Wolverines. So, anyways,
Christian knocked them out of the top 25.
Yep, I believe that's what's going to happen. So I'm happy that they stayed ranked, so we can end that freaking losing streak, man. I'm so done with that losing streak against ranked teams. So
I thought it was kind of funny that they were ranked to begin with, but I know the Michigan fan and you will disagree.
Yeah, I mean they aren't their defense is not as good as I thought it was going to be. So that's the biggest, that's the biggest thing is I thought their offensive line and defensive lines were going to be better. And I mean, we'll see. I mean, Oklahoma might just be maybe Oklahoma's just a top 10 team, and so maybe it'll look different.
Yep.
But I believe that Nebraska will be favored, and I do believe that they will win that game whenever it's September. I'm blanking on the date, but
September 20th, I believe.
September. That's the day, folks. Mark your calendars. That is the day that the Nebraska Cornhuskers will beat a ranked team for the first time since 2016, I think. Oregon 2016. Yep. 9 years. My God, we've got to do it. We cannot go another season without beating a ranked team.
From your mouth to the ears of Husker fans everywhere. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, I predicted it all off season, but I just feel even more strongly about it now. I do not think I think Nebraska is going undefeated at home this year. I just believe that in my heart of hearts. So we'll see.
Hey, if they play like they do on Saturday, they can beat anybody.
Yeah, I believe that too. So there you go. You have it right from the horse's mouth, everybody. We'll be back later this week on Wednesday. We'll break down Houston Christian, look ahead to them. And so if you haven't already, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn those notifications on, and get into the comment section. Let us know how good you think Nebraska is going to be this season or how good they are right now. So as always, go Big Red.
Go Big Red.